Libra, welcome. It's Erin Scott here. And like we did last month, we're going to go ahead and tap in to see what images, pictures, forms, arcs, shapes want to come through for you. Because what we're doing here, as all of these kind of monthly scopes have always done, is it's tapping into what is the growth arc for the Libra narrative, the Libra egoic growth arc. So for the now, for this Aquarius new moon cycle between mid-February to mid-March, what is it that is unfolding for your growth? What theme? Okay, Libra. So let's just see. I don't plan these in advance. We'll just see what comes. And then we'll talk about it after. I hope you're all doing well. The sun moves into Pisces today. I'm recording this on Sunday, the 18th of February. And the last several days, over the course of this portal, it has been quite intense. And I hope you're navigating it well and doing okay. Just breathe. Many things going on in the collective. Many things going on for individuals, lots of movement, lots of alignment, lots of clear seeing, truth telling. Are we willing to see ourselves? Those that are willing will do much, much better this year than those who are not willing. Those who are not willing and rigidly attached to their position will not do well this year or in the coming years. And I don't say that to threat, it's just the truth. We're all having to get really real, really fast. We have to be able to see truthfully. Okay. So let's just see what's coming and then we'll talk about what it's meaning. And you should definitely trust what's coming forward for you. So as I'm drawing, as you're drinking your tea or your coffee or anything that you desire as you're watching this process, definitely trust your own gut and own interpretive capacity, because you are a channel just like everyone is naturally a channel. And you are psychic just like everyone is psychic. For some of us it takes more practice to get into that space. For other people it's more natural. But you are just as psychically capable as anyone else. If it is harder for you, it simply means that there's more of an opening called for. An ability to see possibility, potential, and reality of the myriad levels of reality that is this life. So you have lots of green. I would say more green so far than any of the other channelings that I've done this month, Libra. Green is representing growth. There might be more to come, but let me start to tap in, okay? So the first thing that came out was just this kind of blob, this shape, this form, out of which what ultimately became cherries. So initially this was a couple of, you know, stems. And this was not necessarily fruit. It was just a sphere. You know, this kind of cranberry sphere, but then it wanted to become, it quickly became, the desire became a pair of cherries. And so what I get from cherry, and this would be something for you to look up separately, but what I get from cherry is, one, springtime. So obviously we're moving into spring. We have about a month left of official winter in the northern hemisphere. So what I get here is springtime growth, springtime emergence, something coming to fruition. I've seen that for a couple of the other signs during this cycle, which is part of a natural cycle of growth for the collective. So it's not that unusual. We're moving into spring next month, so indeed. But cherries in the snow is also coming up. There's something about the brightness of the red, Libra, that's energy, and it's also a pair. One is bigger than the other. For some of you, it could be that there's some energy, some new growth with a child or with somebody younger than you. It doesn't necessarily have to be a family member either. Some energy, some growth, some sweetness. Cherries, sweet fruit. It's also tart. Cherries are sweet and tart. So there could be a relationship that's growing with a younger person for some of you that might involve some tartness to it, and it might be starting to grow in spring. So there's that, okay? This emerged almost like stairs. What I get from this, Libra, is that so there are these 4 lines that emerged, 2 of which ultimately became cherries. These 2 which created a boundary with vertical lines. This could represent obstacles that you're moving through as something progresses. And as something progresses, it could be coming down from this blob, this black blob, which could have been confusion, Libra, for some of you. Now, I will tell you that if you watched last month's reading, the Libra narrative was quite interesting because there was a lot of confusion that erupted. And I think that this is almost like the remnants. So in this cycle, there's remnants of some confusion, but it's behind you. It's small, it's minor. Now there's growth. Now you're able to look ahead. But what I was going to say is there was 4 root systems that came from this blob of, let's say, confusion that you had last month. 2 of which are emerging into this sweet and tart, perhaps new relationship emerging in spring. It could also be a business partnership, okay? But here, 2 of these became almost like a progression, a path, a stairway. And these could also represent like obstacles, you know, little challenges. It's not free-flowing. It's not like this is water pouring out. It's not free-flowing. You have to work at it. You're either walking down the staircase or you're walking up the staircase. But you're needing to contend with some sort of a horizontal obstacle here. But to me, this is just daily. This is just kind of the daily, you know, process of living. You're living and you're learning. Actually, that's what I get with this. It's that there is new growth, potentially with a younger person, potentially with a business partnership or a love relationship. Even by the way, a family relationship. It actually could be parent-child as well. But there's some new growth emerging that is taking some daily work. That's what I'm getting for this particular cycle. Down here, I mean, essentially this is almost like grass. Again, springtime is coming up. A lot for you because there's a ton of green here for you. Much more so than the other signs. So lots of growth, new growth, emergent growth after a time of winter's cover, winter's internal process of reflection, you know. Snow covered. But the snow is melting now during this cycle, again, mid-February to mid-March. That's what we're tapping into with this. And again, lots of growth. These grass shoots are lots of growth. Now, the other thing that I'll say, Libra, is that these almost remind me too of flames. This is kind of how I tend to draw flames. But so there's a dynamic, there's kind of a, not a fury, but an energy, a vitality, and a height to the growth. So Libra, let's take a look. I'm also going to select a card for you. And I used to do this with the Alchemy scopes. I'm going to be using the Carolyn Mace archetype cards here, okay? And we're going to tap into the core growth edge for you over the course of this particular cycle. Now, one thing that I didn't talk about at the beginning is that this Aquarius new moon was also a partial solar eclipse, a very dynamic one. It was very highly aspected. I did a video on that. It's posted on my main channel. You are invited. I welcome you to go and look at that because I also talk about the new Chinese Year of the Earth Dog that started at the same time. So there's new birth. There's new birth, and you are feeling it. There's lots of growth. There's some work that's needed, but there is growth. From the confusion is emerging new fruition, new fruits, literally. So this is a dynamic time frame, this particular month, but it's also designating a time frame for the next 6-month portal of time, the next year portal of time, as well as the next 18-19 year portal of time until the next eclipse at the same point or in the same area. So let's take a look at what's coming forward here for you as the main growth edge. Prince. Prince is coming up. Okay, so there's a growth edge and there's the evolution. Let's see. So the growth edge here is using power for self-aggrandizement. And what wants to be matured is romantic charm and the potential for power. So it's about kind of the authentic activation, catalyzation, use of charm naturally, without force, without a need to make yourself bigger than you are. So using power to make yourself bigger is what wants to be transmutated during this time frame. And I have to tell you, it could very well be that that's kind of this daily growth, daily discernment, daily kind of rebalancing that needs to happen with these minor obstacles, because growth wants to happen. Growth is happening. Your cycle is about new emergence, but there's day-to-day work you have to attend. It's not coming easily. You have to participate in your growth, as we all do. But for you, there's more mindfulness, and it has to do with kind of your naturalness coming through versus pushing some agenda of yourself that's a caricature of yourself onto people, relationships, new partnerships, etc. Beautiful, Libra. So for those of you interested in learning more about my holosynthesis work, I invite you to go to my website, thealchemyofholism.com. And until next month, Libra, I'm sending you much love for your growth, your empowerment, your ease, your health, your holistic realities. I'll see you next month. Bye-bye.